The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. The best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.
This is the best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken on AM 950. Tonight we're going to play parts of interviews from 3 different guests. We've had some amazing people appear on the show, and we think that they should be heard from again. Enjoy the show. We have Stephanie O'Reilly. We have John Marson. We are talking about the McIntyre Villa, which has been really quite the exciting location. And since I've been there the first time, which I've been there probably half a dozen times, but I've only started going in 2022. So, I mean, that goes to show how much I really appreciate it. There's a lot of fans on here today, Steph, who've been really enjoying it. I've also shared in the comments where people can like your Facebook page. I'm going to say it on the air for people who are not on Facebook. Go to 1889 McIntyre Villa. That's McInteerVilla. Now, folks, keep in mind, I understand that you may not want to rush out there right now because that's just how things work. But like the page, when you're deciding to go on vacation or something, you know, just it's a beautiful place. Atchison, Kansas is a beautiful place as well. It's a great small town. Everything about it is fantastic. Folks, I want to do some evidence. Steph, are you okay with me doing some evidence right now?
Absolutely.
So we'll see if this actually plays for everybody, since our tech man John Marson couldn't hear any of it when we tried earlier. So we're going to Tech Corner later, see if you can hear it. I have a number of EVPs. We got about 5 of them that we're going to try to play here. We'll play them twice. Steph, maybe what I'll do, if you're fine with it, how do you want me to do it? Do you want to explain it if I tell you which one it is, or do you want us to play it first and then you can tell us what it is?
Oh gosh, whatever you want.
Okay, well, thanks for being really helpful on this program. You are like the perfect guest. I mean, wow,
to save my life.
No, it's it's refreshing. It really is. It's wow. So I don't remember it being like this the last time. I mean, you're much more.
I was thinking about that. I actually remember. I was so proud of myself because I filtered the whole time, and I was sitting in my car. There was a hailstorm. There were people in the villa, and I didn't want to talk and drive in a hailstorm. So I remember that. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I had my life together then. I don't know.
Well, I mean, trust me, I understand the whole life together part of the equation here.
Yeah.
So here's the first one. It's called, and you know, when the proper way of doing these is that you don't tell people what you're going to hear, but because we are have just over 10 minutes left, we're going to tell them what you're going to hear. And this one is called Evil Laugh. Okay. So, folks, take a listen to this, and we might play it twice here, but here you go, Evil Laugh. So, John, did you hear that? Oh, yes. Good. Oh, good. The Tech Corner is working today. So, Steph, I mean, first of all, what I love about that clip, and for those listening on the radio, you hear it twice, and that's because it's 2 different cameras picking up the same laugh. One is louder, and the other one is maybe not quite as loud, only because it is in a different spot. I mean, that's incredible, Steph.
It's a different floor. I mean, it's
got different floor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So the story on that one was the night before. That was like 9:30 in the morning. I had some friends over. That we had spent the night, and they didn't want to go to the basement, so we didn't. And they wanted to wait till morning to go to the basement. So we were in the basement just hanging out in one of the rooms, and we heard something fall. And because I'm lazy, I just checked the camera. I didn't want to go upstairs and see what
Why
fell.
not? Yeah.
I mean, why not? So I checked the camera and we heard that fall, that bang, whatever it was. And then that's how we heard that laugh. Otherwise, I mean, it's so loud, and I get how people don't understand that we didn't hear it, but we didn't hear it. Because trust me, I would have bolted. I would have gone home. But I mean, it was so loud. So I don't even know I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I don't know.
It's crazy. Let's do this. Let's play it one more time, and we'll move on to the next one. So here is Evil Laugh again. Now that with a little context, maybe some folks might pick it up a little bit more this time. Here you go. Though somebody must have heard it because you heard someone say, "What was that?" Or they heard something.
Yes, because
she did
say, "What was that?" That's what we heard because something fell.
That's right.
It's like, what was that? Yep.
I mean, next time, I guess that's what happens when I don't listen to what you're saying. I guess I just
what?
Hey, how did you two get here? So the next one is titled "Ha Ha, You Can't Get Me." So let's take a listen to that. What the?
Wow.
Right? I mean, that's like, there's no British kid in your house, right? I mean, Harry Potter isn't in your house, right?
I forgot about that. I have not heard that in such a long time, but actually, I think I played it for Tori maybe a few months ago.
Well,
anyway,
Tori's on the spot here, so yeah, Tori's all about it. So yeah.
Yeah. So that story is there was a wedding reception at the villa, and it was over at 7 p.m. Then I had a group checking in at 8 p.m. And so I'm in the attic just waiting for the first group to leave, the wedding reception group to leave, and I get on the camera to see if they were gone, and they were not gone. So you can still hear a little bit of a woman talking, like in the dining room or kitchen or something like that. But yeah, I was just seeing if they were gone. That's how I heard this. I got on the camera in the library because there were some boys there playing chess. And I saw there was nobody there, but I heard something talking. I'm like, what? And then you could hear it on the dining room camera, the main staircase camera, the library camera, the hallway camera. It picked up on so many cameras that, I mean, it was crazy. And yeah, I don't know who the British kid is, but that's not the first time that there's been a British accent.
No, and we're gonna play that one again, and we're gonna play that as well because I mean I know what you're talking about. I want to play "Ha Ha, You Can't Get Me" again because that's just incredible. So here we go.
Ha ha, then you can't get me. Ha ha.
Adam, are you gonna sleep with the lights on tonight?
You're giving me a ride home tonight. Don't have to look like an Uber, right?
Right. Nope. I'll give you a ride home. We're good. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Nope.
But I will have my Superman nightlight on to protect you.
This is Thursday night. We freaked you out the last Thursday night. We're gonna do it again this Thursday night.
I'm gonna start rethinking Thursdays.
So moving on, we got one called "Comeback." So here we go with that. That one's a little bit harder to hear, but it's there. It's there. Are we working you hard tonight, Adam, with the scary ones there? I could see like the color draining from your face.
Okay, that one was really cool. I liked that one.
Yeah.
That one is so that is a great example of when people are spending the night, I tell them for any reason, let me check the camera. If you want me to check it for any reason, you never know. And so those girls, I think they thought they heard something, but not sure what. So they messaged me and asked me to check the camera. And that's how we picked that up. So their recorders didn't pick it up. That's from my security camera, just because they heard something. And so I checked the camera and you can hear "come back," which is kind of rude because I get told to get out, but whatever. I'm not mad.
It's not a competition, right? I mean, clearly it is. It clearly is.
Clearly.
Let's listen to that one again, and we'll move on to the next one too. Here we go.
Maybe you stop calling? Okay. Bye. We'll be back.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Moving on, we got I don't know who this one is it's speaking to, but this one is called Stupid Dumb something else. There, we're gonna hear it. It might have been about you, John. I'm not quite sure. You know, it might been like forewarned of you coming like 3 years, you know, early or something like that. So let's take a listen to this one.
Are you happy that we're in here? She's probably screaming at that thing right now. I hate you, Stephanie. No, I'm not. He leaves already. So bad. I'm really glad to stay here tomorrow by myself until people show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
even
yeah,
John's face. I'm enjoying this. I really am enjoying this. Yeah.
that is in the kids' room, and I had a girls' night. This is probably 3-4 years ago, and I asked Esmeralda, who is a 1800s marionette with human hair.
Yep.
She's in a locked case.
That's
but
all.
I had
Yeah.
asked, "Can you hear me with those human-like ears?" And then I asked, "Are you happy we're in here?" Nothing happened. We heard nothing. I even apologized to the girl saying, "I can't schedule an appearance. Sorry." And the next day somebody asked me to check my camera, and then the response was, "No, I'm not, stupid dumb B word." And that same laugh, which again, if we would have heard it, I would have left. But
I mean that voice.
I didn't like that doll to begin with. No.
Yeah.
and I find that room the most comfortable in the entire second floor.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, that's something. Why don't let's play that again, and we'll move on to the last one here. So for those who want to not sleep tonight, here is an EVP.
Are you happy that we're in here? She's probably screaming at that thing right now. I hate you, Stephanie. No, I'm not. He leaves already. So bad. I'm really glad to stay here tomorrow by myself until people show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
They love me there, though. You can tell. That's a term of endearment.
We have about 2 minutes left. Let's play the last one here, and we'll just. I won't even say the name of it because it'll be pretty obvious here. But here we go.
Hello. Hello.
So that was, and so there's one human component to it, but then there's one that isn't, right?
Correct. My friend Brenda says hello, and the response, which we did not hear, she heard it on her recorder that she had in the piano room, which is on the second floor. I'm sorry, on the main floor. We're in the basement, and she says hello, and then there's a response, hello, that some people think sounds like a parrot, or some people think sounds British.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that. My first thought went to British again, but yeah, it kind of does. Let's have another listen to it.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, that's Harry Potter's there again. So, wow. As we wrap up, Steph, how do you want people to get in touch with you about just anything about the villa?
They can call me, they can text, they can email. Email is the same basically as my website's 1889 mcintyrevilla@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can get on the website and the calendar is on there, and anything with the red dot is already taken. But you can, for $100, you can hold a date. I've even booked some Saturdays through April and May of next year. Every weekend's booked up until 2024 right now, but $100 holds a date, and your final payment's due a week prior. So if you see a date, just call me up and grab it.
That's perfect. Yeah. And John Shar and I are going to do an event there next year. That we got to still work out some stuff, but folks know that we're going to do one for people up in Minnesota. We'll get that information out as soon as we can on that. John, thank you very much for joining in tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And Steph, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking part tonight.
Thank you, guys.
You are listening to the best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. Remember, you can hear full past episodes, see upcoming events, and order books of the authors we have on the show by going to ghostboxradio.com. Don't forget to like us over on Facebook, look us up at Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, and finally, please consider supporting me on Patreon. We have a special, unique audio content that you'll not find anywhere else, plus special episodes. On Patreon, you can find me as Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. We'll be back with another guest after the break. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
The best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.
Now, to our guest, Stephen Warren Hill, who is very well knowledgeable about all these wonderful films, and for someone like myself who actually is friends with him on Facebook, and I see that you're watching like a movie a night or something like that, and then you're also going through your CD collections. You're like, I'm on the letter N right now, and and then also you also are owner of the largest Doctor Who online community, Gallifrey Base. Do you do human things? Do you do stuff like what the rest of us do? Or are you just kind of, is your fingers like a USB and it's plugged into computers all the time, making sure that nothing goes wrong on these forums and stuff?
Well, I have a really good staff for the forum.
You do.
And they take care of it most of the time.
You do.
So I don't have to worry about that so much as much as I used to. As far as I work from home, and I have a TV right here next to me, and I can usually have a movie on while I'm working, and I trade off between listening to music or watching movies. Ever since I started listening to albums, I've been keeping track of what albums I listen to, so I can tell you exactly how many times I've listened to whatever album you want to ask me about. And movies I've been a little less careful about keeping track of, but I'm trying to keep track of now, and hence me posting about all the movies that I've watched since the last time I posted, and what ratings that I give them. Because sometimes I'm seeing movies for the first time still.
Only because they're in the theater for the first time. So what is it about us? I'm going to lump myself into that. We are connoisseurs of media, and I say that almost as if we're kind of separate from a lot of other people in that regard, because others can say, yeah, I watch a lot of stuff, but they don't understand. I mean, look at behind you. I mean, that's probably a very minuscule part.
This is just what I've gotten in the last month or two.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
What is it about us that not only do we want to watch it, but we want to keep track of it as well? And that I got that. I got that. Yeah.
This I just got today.
That bless Warner Archive.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
And also when Universal, and was this through Kino? I can't remember. They would do like the 4 movies, the 4 horror movies, like from the 30s and 40s. Like I think that's where Black Cat was part of it. Do you know which collection I'm talking about? There's like 8 volumes or something like that.
Oh, Shout Factory.
Oh, Shout. Out. That's it. Yeah.
Universal Classic Horror Movies, Volume 1.
Whatever.
2, 3.
Yeah. No, those are great transfers, great films.
The lesser Universals, which are in some ways just as good as the other ones.
Totally. So yeah, we have all that. Now, Emily has a question. I think it's a really good question. Love your thought on this. She asked, do you think that the talkies took something away from older horror?
Well, one of my favorite actors of all time is Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
Senior, I'm talking about. And he only did one talkie because he died too young, far too young. And in his case, the answer is yes, for sure, because his supreme talent came from being a silent film actor. I don't think he's as effective when you can hear him talking in the remake of The Unholy Three. And I don't think he would have continued being such a successful actor. He was such a big star at the time when he died. I've read accounts of, how crowded, how many people were there for his service and everything. But I think we would have lost something with him moving into the talkies. However, the talkies really adjusted quickly and came into their own. People talk about how creaky Dracula is and Frankenstein, but then Bride of Frankenstein, we bring in Franz Waxman to do the score, and all of a sudden the movie kind of comes to life with music, and the whole thing coalesces into movies like, this really feels like a package. A whole ball of wonderfulness of movie. That they really adapted quickly to make the sound movies and make the sound work for them rather than against them. And then that's really why you also have to watch those movies from 1930, 31, 32, very open-minded and kind of patient with how technically unskilled they seem to be in a lot of ways, because man, that must have been the toughest time to make a movie. 1929, 1930.
Absolutely, and talked about it before, like Todd Browning doing Dracula. I mean, I think it's very stifled, but what shines through is Bela Lugosi, and if there was a silent film, we would have lost out on his dialogue, which he is very good at that. And it's interesting too that you have Todd Browning with basically what looks like kind of looks like a silent film, and it's paced as a silent film, I think. And then James Whale, even Frankenstein is way different in direction and in pacing, and they're not that far apart at all as far as releases.
Right.
So it is interesting, and you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I feel like that the learning curve was being picked up very, very, very quickly. And it was good to see that, obviously, like the makeup of Frankenstein is so it's so good, and it makes it good to know that, like, Lon Chaney, with the work that he done with makeup, that part was also progressing very quickly as well.
Chaney definitely led everybody in makeup, and but Universal developed an incredible makeup department, and they did the job really well for a long time.
They did, and and maybe I'm just stuck in time myself, but I no matter what I've ever seen of Frankenstein post Universal films, never has hit that sort of like wonderment to me as those films, apart from the Munsters, I guess. But everything else, granted, they can't touch that design. They can't, no one else could ever go anywhere near it. But it just, everything that comes through, even like the Hammer stuff, is just like, they're just not, to me, they're just not as good.
I have to agree with you, that it's just too iconic. You can't even come close to it. Approaching it. Because it's so cemented in people's minds as the look of the Frankenstein creation that you can't get away from it.
And do you feel like we're missing a beat, or even Universal is missing a beat, that there isn't any way that they could bring back those designs, new type of films, reimagined, and create something and keep a franchise going? I just feel like that no one wants to attempt that. Obviously, there's a new Frankenstein in the works. Del Gormo, whatever. See, I'm never
Del Toro.
Del Toro. I knew that I was wrong, and I like, gosh, I'm a fraud. But still, I mean, that's going to be a very different sort of piece, obviously. But I want to see films. I guess I just want to see the films that have already been made. So I guess why don't I just watch those films then, right?
I mean, honestly, really, what's the point?
There are a lot of Universal Monster fans who really strongly wish for a revival of those classic creations in on the big screen, but I just don't see how it can possibly work these days with the audiences expecting more, rapid, fast-paced movie with a lot of action, and the attempts that they've made don't just, sometimes they're all right. The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro was okay. Some praise it very highly. The makeup was wonderful, but it just feels like you're taking something that should be slower paced and cramming it into 20 minutes of screen time, and then trying to expand around it. And I don't know if it'll ever work. I'd love for it to. I would love to see for a long time, I wished for after the 3 Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser, I wanted a movie where his character goes to the Amazon and finds the creature from the Black Lagoon. I thought that would have been wonderful, and Stephen Sommers could have pulled it off. But that series ended in some mild disappointment, and we never got another one of those. And let's not talk about Tom Cruise.
I'm just about to. Okay, but you are absolutely right. I mean, that was always something like no one ever said that's the direction they're going to go. But I also thought, gosh, you could go anywhere with those characters, and it doesn't have to be the Mummy, which that to me kind of feels like the closest, because Emily in the comments also says, basically she says she would love to see what we're talking about, but she agrees that it wouldn't work. She feels the classic feel is just gone. I would say that those films got us closest to that, and I think that was the intention, as well as the homage to other 50s type films in that area. So
yeah, Stephen Sommers' first Mummy movie, the one with Brendan Fraser, it surprised a lot of people. It surprised me. I was looking forward to it, but I didn't know what to expect. And what I got was really carefully done and very pleasing to most audiences. So, it was a winning situation. And if we could have gotten more like that, his character could have gone on. And then they tried to do Van Helsing and kind of missed the mark. And it made me wish more that they could have stuck with Brendan Fraser's character and the team that they had built up, the ensemble cast from that movie.
Now, we saw in August the film Last Voyage of the Demeter. What did you think of that?
I have not seen that yet.
Oh, look at that! My gosh, we got one.
It's sitting over there. I haven't seen it yet.
It just came out. You have you picked it up right away. My gosh.
Oh yeah. I pre-order almost everything.
God, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Otherwise, I forget. If I don't order it right away, I forget. And then 2 years later, I go, that came out.
Right. Well, it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it when you see it, because it's very interesting. And we, Adam and I did see, and we talked about it a while back. But it's a very interesting, as you know, very interesting film that's very much just a piece of the Dracula novel. Emily also says, and this is what I was also going to say, when we talked about a surprise that some of these films have come out, let alone in beautiful quality, she mentions Mystery Science Theater 3000 made a 50 horror movie lover, but in some ways that was the only way we could see some of these films was as MST3K episodes, which kind of like, and
the condition of those prints that they used added to their ability to make fun of them. Of course, they would make jokes about missing frames and things like that. But when you see those movies in restored format, and I'll give you an example, because just recently released within the last couple of weeks, double feature Blu-ray of the giant Gila monster and the killer shrews. The prints of these movies are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And The Killer Shrews becomes a movie that you realize that's not that bad for a low, almost no budget movie where they put carpets over dogs to be shrews. And it's better than you think it is. But the prints that they used to use on MST3K would never let you feel that way about the movie.
No.
Right. And you could never see a movie that might be okay underneath it all. So that's another benefit that we get from these restorations that we're getting. I can't say enough about how wonderful it is to get these new scans of, the original camera negatives and see these movies like we never have seen them before.
So you're never going to be one of those people who think that in some cases lesser quality, for nostalgia's sake, even is all right sometimes. And my case in point, and I hate to bring up this series, it's one that I don't know if you heard of, it's called Doctor Who, and it's sometimes I like to go back to the VHS recordings.
You are listening to the best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. Remember, you can hear full past episodes, see upcoming events, and order books of the authors we have on the show by going to ghostboxradio.com. Don't forget to like us over on Facebook, look us up at Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, and finally, please consider supporting me on Patreon. We have a special, unique audio content that you'll not find anywhere else, plus special episodes. On Patreon, you can find me as Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. We'll be back with another guest after the break. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
The best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.
But we are continuing our conversation with Mr. Sam Baltrusis. We've been talking about Fueled by Fear, his newest book that you can get on Amazon. And you also go to sambaltrusis.com and make sure that you check it out. There's a lot of information about him on there, and it's a very well laid out website. So I would definitely recommend that. And we've been talking about a number of things about the paranormal and the shift there. But one thing I wanted to do, Sam, since we shared this, and I was so happy to see her in your book, Meg, who friend to both of us, dear friend to both of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna start crying.
In May. And I just really needed to say thank you for that. I mean, it just, which I think is happening to you right now, just kind of melted me to see her. And she is so missed.
Yeah, very much so. And I wasn't expecting that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to pull that on you, but it's just kind of the reaction I had when I was looking through the book. And it's just been, like you, who's been close friends with her, and I used to spend hours on the phone with her, talking with her, and she helped me through quite a bit. That I was just her death back in May had been so shocking and so unnecessary that at least I hope now that all pain has stopped and that she's in a much better place.
Yeah, and I will tell you this. So we did a thing called Spirit Squad Weekend, and we brought in some of our students. Some of our students actually are my students in Spirit Squad, and we did sort of a circle honoring Meg's life and her legacy as a gifted clairvoyant psychic medium. And she was with us. I feel strongly that she is working with us mediums and her students still, and so when I go on an investigation, I know that Meg is with me. So the tears are more tears of like just seeing her face, but I feel that she's with all of us.
Absolutely. So I really just wanted to say how wonderful it was to see her in there, which I'm not surprised, knowing that you two had such a close relationship, but it was really nice to see her.
So the book is dedicated to Meg.
It's so fantastic. So a couple things. We were talking about the just the kind of shift in paranormal. We're talking about where things are going, kind of from broadcast to YouTube. Nicole had a question that was with Discovery tossing out paranormal shows. Where can people find good programming? I'm going to let you answer that in 1 second, but Ernie also responds back, and he was with Brandon Alvis and Mustafa when they shot some episodes of Haunted Discoveries that we finally found out that that's going to have a home on T+E network. The promise with that is that that's going to be a show that's tosses paranormal programming on its head. It's like a different approach, and I'm really excited to see what that is. Do you have any idea? Have you talked to them at all or seen anything that they've been doing along?
So I'm also kind of going that direction too. So it's T&E. It's a Canadian network. So it's like Discovery Plus, and they're launching a platform they've already launched a platform called Haunt TV, which is going to be their streaming platform. And so the show that I filmed this past year is called History's Most Haunted. The crew is a female-led team of investigators, and I never heard of them before, but I'll tell you, they were amazing. They were amazing investigators. They were investigators. They're not like actors playing investigators, which is what you see a lot on television and also on the internet. But yeah, so I'm also going in that direction myself. And have I followed Brandon and Mustafa's work? Absolutely. I think that what they're doing, it took a lot of guts to stand his ground and kind of say, this is what I want to do. And this is how I want to approach the paranormal. And I think that is what you have to do. You have to kind of vet what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I think all of us are still figuring it out. So the biggest issue with Haunted Discoveries was finding a home for it to air. And Brandon kept talking about, we're going to launch it. But where? Because there was nowhere to go. And she's right. So Discovery Plus, I turned into Max. In the States, we don't really have anywhere to go as far as doing paranormal shows and even to be viewers of paranormal shows. So it is in a state of tumult right now. And I do see the light. I do think that Canada's leading the way. And I think the UK is also leading the way as well. And I'm hoping that the States kind of get their act together and we can all go to a location, have a home for paranormal television.
And, I think one of the things that's a really big learning that I'm sure that anything that you do, you're going to be in this camp, but with like Brandon and Mustafa or Nick Groff when he's doing Deathwalkers, they're shooting the program and they're selling it, opposed to being like commissioned and then from a network and then making it from there. And what it really sounds like is that you have these people like Brandon and Mustafa and Nick and yourself, I'm sure that it's just like, I want control. I don't want these networks to come back in and tell me what to do because it's not scary enough or this isn't right or whatever, that they want to be able, you as a creator want to maintain control, which is, I know, one reason why Project Fear went down the YouTube route, because they wanted control of their own product as well. Not unreasonable.
Yeah, even so, I said that there was a vetting process with television shows, but there was also the push for demons everywhere too. So if you think about sort of like the shows that I've been on, I've been very lucky because but I've had to fight for that. I've had to, every show that I've been on, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna, and I've walked off sets of shows that where they wanted me to say it was demonic and it wasn't. So I really feel that it's up to individuals to stand your grounds and not to say it's this when it's not. And so the networks did it too. And so you have someone like Haunted Discoveries or History's Most Haunted, where I feel like that there is a shift in the future. It's like shifting over to a different approach to paranormal investigating. The show that I worked on with the three investigators, it's the first female-led show coming out in September. It's going to also be on T&E and on Haunt TV, but their approach is different than anything I've ever. It's a kinder approach, focusing on the spirits and telling their story correctly.
So when it's about 3 years ago now, actually 4, I was this close, very close to getting a program on travel, working with a production company here in the Twin Cities that had produced the Tennessee Wraith Chasers program. They also did one of the iterations of the Ghost Brothers program. In fact, I worked on one of the Ghost Brothers episodes to secure a location for them. And then we started getting to the point of, we're going to develop a program. I was in partnership with She Who Will Not Be Named, and we were very, very close. But then it got to the point that they looked at who we were. They looked at our plot, our synopsis of what the program's going to be. And what you just said was very much the case. It wasn't scary enough. There wasn't demons in it. There wasn't, and it was just like, well, that's, we talk about demons. Well, that's selling my soul then, because it's like, not everything is dark, and I'm from the school of thought that the ability to speak with a spirit in any form should be pretty special on its own, that it doesn't need to be dark. It doesn't need to be nasty. It doesn't need to be scary, but I understand the entertainment value. And that is when the light came on for me. It's like, this is what entertainment is. Unfortunately, people take it too seriously, and they use that as a kind of a measure of how they should do paranormal investigating. But Sam, I was also going to say real fast that what I hope might actually happen from this shift is that, and maybe this is blasphemy, but maybe we get less shows that are on broadcast. I think that not everything needs to be a show, because I look at what's out there, and I don't think everything is warranted to be a show, in my opinion.
No, and I completely agree with you. So what was happening that everybody was on television. It was and there were shows that were coming out, and so the opportunities were there. However, were they all good shows? No. I mean, there was this past year, and I'm not going to name names, but there were some horrible shows, and so we have to. I think it may be a good thing as well. I think that what's happening is that. If the spirit realm, they want their story to be told and told correctly, and it's almost, I think it's a full circle. When they keep wanting to go into this certain direction, the spirits, I don't know if they collectively work together to alter what's going on, but I think just the collective unconscious does, the universe does. And so I think you're right. I think what's happening is it's like a natural weeding out process, and hopefully we're going to get some really great shows coming out of this.
And I had been working with a production company in Canada, sending ideas and stuff with, and the approach has been so much different, and I don't expect anything to come from it, to be very honest. And for me, the luster of that has really died down over the last year or two, because it's just like, because I think people need to stop and think, even when it comes to the YouTube videos and stuff like that, why am I doing this? What am I offering to the collective? And if it's just like, because I think that I would be great as a paranormal investigator on YouTube, I don't think that's good enough. No. Brandon Mustafa threw down the gauntlet, and they said, we're going to show you something that you haven't seen before. And even that alone, and even, reading your book, Sam, those are different. Those take it to a different place where it's like, okay, I'm interested now. I don't need to have, like, just even speaking for my own show here right now, I don't necessarily need to have paranormal teams to come on my show, because you talk to one paranormal team, how is it going to be different talking to all of them? So it's about what is it that makes it unique. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, and for me, like every show that I've been on, there's an underlying theme. It's a history lesson, and so that's been like, I will not do it unless there's sort of history with ghosts involved in the story. And so, yeah, you got to have a purpose. It's not to be like, I want to be a star on television. You got to have a reason why you want to do this.
Totally. And I think for myself too, I backed away because I asked myself that question, and I didn't think I had a unique answer to it. I didn't think I had, because in my mind originally too, it's like, because I wanted to see if I could do it. Well, who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit anybody. So it is I don't think enough people are taking the time to kind of, just really think about it. And what I also get so frustrated with, and I'm sure you see it as well, is if somebody has been on a program for like 3 minutes on something on Travel Channel, they are suddenly, they are the next Zach Bagans or something. Their ego just is like, just like you. Good for you to being on a show. I'm very happy for you, but that doesn't really make you a star. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
And exactly. So it's the full package. I mean, for me, yeah. I'm an author, and that's like that. So I've written 16 books altogether. So when I go to a convention, I sell the fact that I'm an author. The television is just, it's an add-on, and it reaches more people. But I think it's important to kind of know your place in the field. And I think, Greg, for you, just to kind of give you some insight, like Dave Schrader is a great role model in the sense that he's a radio guy who's also a great investigator. And I'll tell you, working with Dave, and this goes for other radio people too, you need somebody that's going to be articulate and to be able to kind of like surmise what's going on. And, like with Dave, when we did Curse of Lizzie Borden, we were he was like taken over and basically automatic writing. And it was a really, really intense thing, but you saw him kind of like pull back and say beautiful things. So yeah. That's a gift. That's a gift in itself. So that's what I think, to kind of give you, I guess, a push to go on to keep doing what you're doing is radio people are able to kind of like magically surmise what's going on.
Totally. It's amazing how quickly these hours go by. For those of you who want to check it out, and I highly recommend that you do, go to sambeltrusis.com. Check out all of his books. Go to Amazon. Get Fueled by Fear. See what he's up to. He's everywhere, and I mean that in a good way. Sam, thank you so very much for being on with us tonight.
Greg, thank you so much for having me on, and I'd love to be on again.
Would love to have you on again. And, just wanted to say, as we wrap up this week, I'd like to once again thank Sam Beltrusis for joining us.
You are listening to the best of Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. Remember, you can hear full past episodes, see upcoming events, and order books of the authors we have on the show by going to ghostboxradio.com. Don't forget to like us over on Facebook, look us up at Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, and finally, please consider supporting me on Patreon. We have a special, unique audio content that you'll not find anywhere else, plus special episodes. On Patreon, you can find me as Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.